Welcome to Whatif tutorials. This tutorial will be to create a purchased item for stock and resale in the item master file. From the standard costing main menu, select item costs and then item master. This displays all the items in the item master file. To create an item, click the Create Item button. The first thing to do is to select an item type. In this case, we're looking for a purchased item for sale X stock. Next, enter a code. Next, enter a short description. Next, select a category code from a category list. These are 2-digit alphanumeric codes which must be created before creating items in the item master file. Each category belongs to a higher level group for basic categorization purposes. Next, select a stock unit of measure. So many. We'll select each. The item is either active or inactive. When we create it, of course, it's active. Next, select a factory if there's more than one factory. Note that an item can exist in more than one factory, but it must be created in each factory. Next, select whether the item has dimensions or not. We'll have some dimensions for this item. Next, select whether the item is configured. By configured, we mean that it is able to be changed in its dimensions and other aspects of its bill of materials to produce a product to customer specifications. This item, however, we're creating is an item for stock, so there is say no to item is configured. Next, select OK. This takes us to a specifications screen. The first thing to enter is a long description. There's no limit to this. This description is used in the quotes module to exactly describe an item that is being quoted. It is optional. Next, enter instructions relating to this item. These are internal instructions for staff involved in the acquisition of the item, the storage of it, or any other aspect that you want to record. Each item can have up to 3 user-defined classifications. In this example, we have already defined 3 as color, style, and size. Simply click the green arrow, select a color, and click Use. You can, of course, create these as you go along. So if you want to add some, you simply click the Add button and add it here. If you have a picture of the item you want to attach, and this is used also in the quotes module, you can attach it here. We don't have any at this stage. You simply find a picture file in your computer and attach it. Next, we click the Dimensions button. What we see here are each of the dimensions that have been defined in the product configurator as standard. There may be other dimensions. They can be added here. These are the standard dimensions. However, each item doesn't use all the standard dimensions, so we select the items we want to include in or for this product, starting with drop, D for drop. There's a unit of measure for each dimension which has been defined in the configurator. The dimension can or cannot be configured, and because it's a stock item, it cannot be configured. We can elect to show or not show each dimension in the dimensions box down here. It may exist as a dimension for the product, but it may not be shown in the item dimensions. Once again, you can decide this. There's a maximum and a minimum value for each dimension defined in the configurator. These are for guidance purposes only. So now we have to enter the value for, let's say, drop. We specify drop. We can put in a value between the maximum and minimums. Click OK. You'll notice now that the value we put in of 1500 drops down here along with its unit of measure. Next we'll select length, specify the length between 6000 and 2000, select 4000, OK, and that's our dimensions. We don't bother here about the other dimensions. Click close, and we are prompted whether to delete these other dimensions from the screen. Obviously we should, because they're not relevant to this product. We end up with drop 1500 millimeters, length 4000 millimeters. Instructions. I don't think I put any instructions in before, so we put them now. Close. That concludes the specifications. We now have the cost assumptions. First thing to do is to select a supplier. The supplier has a currency and a lead time details which he brings with him, and each supplier belongs to a supplier type for classification purposes. We use this one. There's a reorder quantity for reference purposes, and there's a buy lead time. Notice that the currency comes with the supplier. Next we enter the gross price for the item, any discount that we can get. This brings us to the net local price, and we now need to enter any landing charges if applicable. Landing charges usually are applicable to imported items and usually cover freight, insurance and duty and other costs. We need to enter into a standard cost per unit, per buy unit of, let's say, $50. This then brings us down to a landed cost per stock unit, and if the buy unit was different to the stock unit, we would need to enter a conversion factor other than 1 in order to get a standard cost per stock unit. Finally, we select whether it is taxable, yes or no, and OK. This brings us to the sale cost details. Sell unit of measure is usually the same as the stock unit of measure, but it can be conceivably different. But in this case we'll take it as the same as the stock unit. Enter the sell price, any discount that's available, and that then brings us down to the gross profit per sell unit. Our net sell price less our standard cost per sell unit gives us our gross profit and percent of margin, 62%. Indicate whether it's taxable or not, and because the sell unit is the same as the stock unit, the conversion factor is 1, and we're finished. So you see now, here's the item in the item master file, the code, description, the dimension, not configurable, purchase rather than made, it's a sold, it's factory, SDK because it's a stock item, unit of measure, stock unit of measure that is, the standard cost per stock unit of measure, the supplier lead time, whether it's active, category. This is going all over the place, isn't it? And then we have the group and its classifications 1, 2, 3. Now this screen we're looking at is the standard item master screen, but there are other views we can take. For example, to look at the selling details, we can view sale details, and here we've got our product we just created showing us the sell price, and of course this is the sell price is per buy unit, per sell unit. So there's a gross price less the discount to give us the net sell price less the standard cost per sell unit to give us the margin. We can swap back to our main view just by doing this. The cell view remains there. So we have created a purchased item of stock for resale, and that concludes this tutorial.